Hello, Maverick fans. Welcome to another edition of the Mavpuckcast. Jon and I are here to talk about some Omaha hockey. We've got a road series to chit-chat about, and then looking at another road series for Omaha before we hit the holiday break. Jon, how are we doing today? It was a rough weekend with North Dakota.
Yeah, the past 10 games have been kind of rough for UNO. So somebody said one time when we were at a road series, it was one of the parents came up and said, I'm looking forward to hearing how you're going to spin this on the podcast this week. So apparently we're like the masters of spin here. So don't worry, I'll come up with something really good to explain what's going on. So I'm apparently good at that. But before we get to that, we have a couple of thank yous. First, we'd like to thank our founding members for their support of the Mavpuckcast this season. As I am talking, you are seeing a scroll of the names of those folks who became founding members of the Mavpuckcast and Mavpuck.com for the 2025-26 season. And their names will also appear at the end of each episode. Founding membership is closed for the season. We always run a limited window on that. But if you'd like to join at the free level, or if you'd like to donate to support our efforts at Mavpuck, you can either do that at mavpuck.com/join or mavpuck.com/donate to do one of those two things. And Jason, we want to thank Wahoo Distillery for their support of the Mavpuckcast this season. They've been with us all season long, and they've been a great sponsor, a great local brand that you've had the opportunity to work with. And it's the holiday season. We've got Christmas coming up. We have New Year's coming up. And it might be time to get one of those fine whiskey products from Wahoo Distillery.
Yeah, we're really appreciative of their support all season of the Mavpuckcast and helping us get this out and get information to fans. And, we talk a lot about hometown pride, and, that's Wahoo Distillery, right? Like crafting premium spirits right here in Nebraska using locally sourced ingredients. And, we talk about farm to table. This is a grain to glass, as we'd like to say. So original whiskey. Love to sip on that stuff. They got a really smooth cinnamon whiskey. And the great part is there's a promo code in the description, MAVPUCK, when you go to checkout there, and you'll get a really nice discount. That discount is ending soon. So if you haven't picked up a bottle, you'll want to make sure you do that ASAP.
Yeah, and for more information, visit wahoodistillery.com. And Jason, that promo code is MAVPUCCast, correct?
Mavpuckcast, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, might want to pick up that, for your New Year's Eve celebration. That'll be here before we know it, Jason. It's hard to believe 2025 is almost over, and it's hard to believe that we are 16 games into the hockey season. After the next game, that Friday game up at Augustana, which we'll be talking about in a little while here, we will be halfway through the regular season. So
Wow.
Here we are. Normally, this time of year, we'll have a series mid-December, and then they'll have a couple weeks off, which I got to tell you, in many respects, I really prefer having a couple weeks off, because then I get a couple weeks off, and you get a couple weeks off, and I'm not trying to edit a bunch of episodes of this podcast. But the Mavs this last weekend went up to Grand Forks for a series against the North Dakota Fighting Hawks. It was our second series in the first half against North Dakota. Last month, we had North Dakota at Baxter Arena. And it's weird having both of those series against North Dakota come before the first of the year.
Turns.
Yeah, exactly. We're not there. We're technically not their travel partner. Right now, we're in this pod format. So the two teams in the conference that we play 4 times a season, or 2 series, a home and home series, are Western Michigan and Miami. Next season, it will be changing again with the addition of St. Thomas, and we will be Arizona State's travel partner. So we will play a home series against them and a series down in Tempe, which I am very excited about. I'm so glad that we're the their travel partner, because I'm looking forward to going down to Tempe every year. But going into the North Dakota series, we were hoping the team could find a way to get things back on track. They'd had a mixed outcome out in New Haven, Connecticut against Yale, getting a split out there. So we were hoping they could get some positive momentum in this North Dakota series. But Ralph Engelstad Arena is a tough place to play. First period Friday, we lost goaltender Simon Lacozy in the opening 2 minutes of the game, Jason. That was rough.
Yeah, not a great start, especially when we talked about our keys to finding a victory. We looked at our preview last week, and goaltending was one of those things we looked at needing to be, really really good. And it's hard as a backup. You go in, especially on a Friday night, right? Like you go in thinking, I might get some time on Saturday, but I'm probably not seeing anything on Friday. And then all of a sudden, you're pretty much playing a complete game.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I'm really glad that we had gotten some good game action for Dawson Cowan. But it was tough for him to kind of come in cold like that. And it was a tough period for UNO that first period. The Mavs gave up 3 goals to North Dakota. One was a power play goal. So it was 3-0 North Dakota after one, Jason.
Yeah, you could tell the team just wasn't in it with Simon going down. Like there's just a lot of disconnection, just the way that they skated the whole 9 yards that first period. I just like this is not our team. They're not in it. Their heads are somewhere else. And I think a lot of it too is Simon goes down. He's a captain. He's your longtime starter. He's a guy you can rely on. Everyone knows what we get with him, kind of thing. And so now you're in this like, how bad is this injury? Is he coming back later in the game? Probably not. But like, is he going to be ready to go on Saturday? And you start thinking about way too many things. So unfortunately, like you would have liked it just to be, maybe a goal or two. The 3 goal lead going out of the first is just a really big hill for them to kind of climb. But they came back in the second.
They did. 5:59 into the second. Trevor Wong puts UNO on the board, narrows the lead to 3-1. Pellerine wrapped the puck around the net to set that up. And you were just thinking if UNO could get another goal, it could completely change the complexion of this game. Didn't happen. 16:55 into the second. Ben Strinden makes it 4-1 North Dakota on the power play. So it's 4-1 North Dakota after two. And even though UNO played well in that second and in that third period, it just wasn't enough. I mean, North Dakota went on to win 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like that 3 goal hole that you dug yourself is just really really difficult, especially against a team like North Dakota. I felt that we really came back admiral. That there was a really good effort by the team to at least try to make a game out of it and not get blown out of the building. And I think they earned some respect for the way that they bounced back in that second period. It came down to what we said it was going to come down to. You can't keep giving North Dakota power plays. We gave them 5. They scored on 2. So you look at that and you go like, we just have to be, better with our emotions, better with with what's going on in the ice, and being more responsible with kind of the way we play. And I'm like you. If we could have gotten out of that second period 3-1, you know, we got a chance. If you could have found a way to get another goal late, and it's 3-2, then yeah, I really liked the momentum that we had going into the third at that point in time. But yeah, that power play goal just kind of like you kind of could tell like we'll make a try at this, but it's just too much, too little, too late.
Yeah, kind of took the wind out of their sails. Tough first night. All hell broke loose at the end of the game. The game had kind of been chippy at moments throughout. And then,
Yeah,
yeah, and then,
and then the floodgates opened,
and
and then
then
it
the
was like
floodgates open, which resulted, Jason,
entities with 10 seconds left. Yeah.
yeah, Omaha's Sean Chagall and North Dakota's Andrew Strathman were suspended for Saturday's game for fighting at the end of that Friday night game.
Mhm.
And well, you hate to see it because Chagall is a key component in our lineup. And certainly a lot of that's frustration. in a game against in a heated competition against North Dakota.
I know the broadcasters were talking about like, oh, they kept their gloves on, so maybe they won't get fightings and stuff. But I mean, those two in particular, I think they were kind of, really going at it. And, at that point in time, I think the refs were just like, we're just gonna start handing out penalties like candy because we just need to get out of this game and not set us up for having more of this tomorrow night. So
Yeah, we
it's a shame, but
well, we thought there would be more actually, but then they changed those to
yeah.
face masking. But yeah, let's be thankful it didn't become an all-out brawl, or we would have been missing some key players there, Jason.
It's not baseball. There was no bench clearing at least. So
Yeah, there's that. I got to tell you, the look on Coach Gabinet's face, I think, was kind of the sort of the collective look we all had, like, oh my gosh, what else could happen? In addition, on Saturday night, to Shakal being out for us, defenseman Aiden De La Gorgendier was out with a bug, apparently. So I don't, some flu cold type thing is going around with the team. Dawson wasn't in net again. We still aren't sure what the status of Simon Lacosi is, so we'll see maybe this week as this episode comes out if we can find out at the midweek presser. But a lot of times they hold that stuff close to the vest, so
yeah.
we may not know. And in net for North Dakota was Gibson Homer. On Friday night, it was Jan Spoonar, who's a really good freshman goaltender for them, who is 9-0 in his first 9 starts. So we thought we might see Spoonar again, but they gave Gibson Homer, who transferred to North Dakota from Arizona State this year. So Gibson has had success against us. First period Saturday, Jason. It was scoreless through the first. So a much better result than Friday night. 0-0, knotted up.
Omaha did a good job of, protecting the net, getting, clearing those
Yeah.
chances away. There wasn't a lot of second chance opportunities in that first period, and I think that makes a big difference for uh, Cowan and his confidence kind of going into that. When your guys are going to be there to help you out, it gives you a lot more confidence. But yeah, I mean, you're feeling pretty good, 0-0 going into the second.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that track meet that we had in the first period on Friday night. So going into that second period, 129 into the second, Cambriere, who wasn't in the lineup on Friday night, put UNO up 1-0, assist to Loranger and Woodworth. Loranger had a really nice pass to set up that goal. I don't know why Cam wasn't in on Friday night, but we've enjoyed the exploits of Cameron Briere so far this season. He had a goal in the Saturday night game up at Yale too the week before.
We talked about him in the podcast last week. He's starting to find his stride. He's starting to get some production, and that's I think a really good thing for Omaha going down the stretch. And I think he probably struggled. Be curious to get a chance to talk to him, but my guess is he struggled a little bit with just adapting to the new level, and that's the thing when we have so many new players coming in to this Omaha team. There's going to be some time, some feeling out time where they just try to figure out what this flow is, what this game is, who these other players are, what works, what doesn't work, all of that stuff. And so, if he's just now kind of figuring that out, then that's a good thing for us.
Yeah, making the most of the opportunities that he's gotten so far this season. But just a short time later, 2:21 into the second, Anthony Mangini ties it up for North Dakota, and it stayed tied 1-1 throughout most of that second period. UNO had opportunities to get a second goal, but this sort of turned out to be the killer, Jason. We thought they were going to go out of that period with a 1-1 tie, which would have been a good position for UNO to be in.
Hmm?
But with 2.4 seconds left in the second, Jason, North Dakota goes ahead 2-1. It was a really bad turnover by the Mavs in our defensive zone. So it's 2-1, North Dakota after two.
Yeah, it's a good thing we don't record audio while I watch games because there was a lot of words that wouldn't be appropriate for YouTube spoken. Like, I mean, everyone makes mistakes. I'm not going to hang the kid up for it, but at the same time, like, you can't. You gotta know not to do that. Like a team like North Dakota knows what we've talked about the Omaha needing to do is to get the puck to the net faster, and
Yeah.
that's what it did. Turned it over, and it was bang bang in the net, and we're done. And it's like, oh my gosh, can't do that. And so yeah, it's really tough. And you looked at that then going into the third, saying like, all right, so for me, it's like I can tell you in the first 3 minutes if we're gonna win this game. Because if they come out saying like, I made a mistake, I'm gonna get it back for us, and you really push hard in those first 3 minutes, I got a better feeling about your ability to kind of come back. I don't think we had it. Like we kind of just went through like, we're playing well, we'll get it, and I agree that they were playing well, but I just don't think there was enough urgency in the team to try to like net that equalizer in the third, and so um, we don't get it.
No, we couldn't get it. And with 42.6 seconds left in the game, North Dakota's Cody Kroll gets an empty netter. North Dakota goes on to win 3-1. So tough. It was the first time North Dakota got a series sweep against Omaha during a season. Isn't that crazy, Jason?
Yeah, I mean that goes to the parity of the NCHC. Like UNO's a good team, and
They've had success in Grand Forks
yeah.
and at Omaha against the team. Yeah.
Well, and Simon specifically too has been one
Yep.
that's stolen games, and you know Evan Winiger was one that stole games up there. We even had Alex Blankenberg, I remember, stole one up there. Came in out of nowhere, like why are we starting this guy? And
Yeah, I think it's Dean Blaze. Dean Blaze had no fear, and I think Blanks was like our third string goaltender at the time, and he started him up there, and he got a win. Yeah,
yeah. So like those kinds of things, like out of nowhere, this team, and honestly, we've played even with North Dakota, and even this, like, sans the first period Friday night, like these teams are not separated by that much. I thought, like,
yeah.
I think that's the positive thing coming out of that. I don't know how you get that through to the players so that they can play this way against other teams, but this wasn't this wasn't this didn't outside of that first period Friday night. This didn't look like an NHL team playing a AAA hockey team. Like this looked like two teams that both have a legitimate chance if things go right, at being competitive on a national scale. And so we weren't as efficient. We didn't score on opportunities. We weren't as good on the power play as they were. Um, we took more penalties. All those things that we talked about leading into the series, we didn't do, and we had some unfortunate luck with an injury to our top goaltender. Like
Yeah.
it just sucks. But here's the thing: it's over, it's done. So what? Move on. You know, let's take the approach of other things. We won't talk about Nebraska volleyball on this, but all those times that teams have kind of gone in, and that's fine. We'll see them in the NCHC playoffs, and we'll beat them there again.
Well, I like that. That's John optimism there for you. And you mentioned
I'm
that
trying to tunnel all of my like John euphemisms over the years and be like, I can be positive. I really don't want to be positive.
and you had to bring up that Elite Eight game down at the Devaney Center for Husker volleyball. Boy, that was a rough game. I thought we might get it back in that fifth set, but ugh. It was rough. So the Mavs have gone 2-8 in their last 10 games. They are 6-10-0 overall. Certainly not ideal, certainly not what fans were looking for, but 10 of those games in the last 16 that we've played up until this point, 10 were against teams in the top 16 of the NPI. And the NPI is the ranking system that replaced the pairwise this season. So it's not like we've been playing pushovers like Stonehill, Lindenwood, Alaska Anchorage. We've been playing good, solid teams. And we've been playing teams that's, other than Colorado College, are in the top half currently of the NCHC standings. And when you look at the teams that aren't those top ranked MPI teams, you're talking about Yale, Colorado College, and UMass, which are all solid teams in Division One hockey, and all three of those programs in their history have won national championships. So Would it be better to be 8-8 right now? Yeah, that would be great. But Jason, 6-10, we're just going to have to live with it. There's some things to work on.
They just need to keep pushing through it.
They need to. They need to because we've seen flashes at moments. We've
Yeah.
seen moments of brilliant play and they can get it done. So, Jason, I got to ask you, who is your player of the week for this series, this tough series up at North Dakota?
Yeah, it was a. I've been toying over this since the end of the game. Like for me, this time it was more of a decision of the guy that I thought that had a better weekend versus the guy that I thought made the most of the time that he was on the ice, and so I honestly don't know which way to go. I'm gonna actually okay. I'm gonna go with Cameron Briere. I'm gonna go with efficiency. Honestly, like I thought he was really impressive in the one game he played. I'm like you said earlier, I don't know why he wasn't there on Friday night with the way that he played on Saturday, and maybe that's why he played the way. But you know, it's not just the goal. Honestly, I would argue that goal had more to do with Lorange's setup of it than anything else. Like that was just a beautiful feed. Um, but like even beyond that, I really like his recovery this weekend. On turnovers and on the defensive transition backwards, especially to the neutral zone. He's active through the lane, through the middle of the ice, and sticks down. And so, he was generating. There was one period of time where I tracked him with three turnovers on one shift. Like, and that's huge for us. If we can start turning those turnovers into, legitimate scoring opportunities, that's going to be a really good thing for Omaha hockey. I commend him for his play in the game that he got some time on. I don't know. What did you think of him on Saturday?
His last two appearances, he's got a goal in each game. He has two goals and one assist overall, and he was one of the players coming into the season on our preseason episode that I was very excited about. Uh, Came out of the USHL, and I think he's going to develop into a really good forward for UNO. So hopefully we'll see more of him going forward because Jason and I are fans, and you mentioned that pass to set up that goal against North Dakota on Saturday night from Loranger. It was nice to have him back on the lineup. He had been out dealing with an injury. Loranger has 4 assists this season, so hopefully we can keep him healthy, keep him in there. But I've got to go with sophomore forward Trevor Wong, who got his first goal as a Maverick. It was a long time coming. He's a hard worker out there.
Yeah.
He plays with a lot of fire, plays with a lot of heart. He has 1 goal and 4 assists this season, and so I'm honoring him for that. As I've said before, I try to honor these guys when they get their first goal as a Maverick. So I was honestly surprised to hear it was his first goal. A lot of these guys, it feels like they've gotten goals along the way, Jason.
Yeah, yeah. They said that, and I'm like, I had to stop and think, like, really, he hasn't scored yet?
We've heard his name a lot this season in the first half, so hoping for big things for him in the second half of the season. We've got to talk about a new sponsor. Jason is out there getting new sponsors. And this one is another one. You and I are both familiar with one of the owners of Wilson and Washburn downtown, a really fine bar in the old market down there. Jeff Luby, who's one of the owners. Bridget has known him since elementary school. She went to elementary school with him, and we both went to high school with him at Westside High School. So I've known him a long time. Bridget's known him even longer, and you know him from playing rec hockey with him. It seems like Jason meets all these people like we've known for, decades in our life.
Do you ever sit there and wonder, like, why you didn't start playing hockey? I mean, as much as you watch, and everyone I know now, it's like,
I'm surprised that Jeff did. I know he lived in the New York City area for a while, and I wonder if he picked because I don't. I guess this never came up, but like nobody really played hockey when we went to Westside back in the 80s and early 90s. We graduated in 91. The only people who seem to play hockey when we were at West Side were the Omaha Lancers who went to West Side while they were playing here. So I don't know how he picked it up. We'll have to
Okay.
ask him sometime.
We'll need to get a drink and ask him. And of course, the best place to get that drink is at the bar he owns at Wilson and Washburn. It's like the ultimate spot for craft beer lovers and foodies. They got amazing smoked pulled pork, and of course their top quality charred buff smoked wings. And then my favorite, the rotating tap list. So there's always something fresh there to kind of check out and try out. So next time you're downtown, 1407 Harney Street. It is the place to eat. Go check out Wilson and Washburn. And if you want to know what you're getting yourself into, link in the description has their website, and you can see the food options and the tap list all on there.
Yeah, really cool vibe at that place. A couple of our class reunions he has hosted. I think it's two, maybe it's just one. But he's been involved with our two most recent class reunions, and the last one I know for sure was held at Wilson and Washburn. So certainly check them out. Jeff's a good guy. He's been a season ticket holder for UNO hockey in the past, and like I said, Bridget and I have known him forever. And as Jason mentioned, visit their site, check out the menu, and if you're in the old market, stop by wilsonandwashburn.com to learn more. We've got to talk about your mavpuck.com weekly top 20. I
I
still have not come up with my jingle.
you do need a jingle. We need a jingle. But
I
this
will
week,
work on that over Christmas break.
oh, there we go.
But yes, your weekly top
Asterisk
20 for the week of
asterisks
December
before we
14th.
do this. Because I know people are going to get the comments and they're going to yell at me about this. I just want to point out that this list was done before Dartmouth lost to Northeastern on a Sunday night game. So I just don't want people to like chastise me with they're no longer undefeated stuff. And so, but I also like to point out that I was not one of those that was putting them in the top five like some of the other writers. So just want to point out that I knew that there was something there yet. They'll win every other game for the rest of the season, but why not? Okay,
All right.
Don, after that little interlude, please continue with my list of who cares rankings.
Yeah, the mavpuck.com weekly top 20 for the week of December 14th. By the way, when we talk about the MPI, which I hate the name MPI, I really preferred pairwise because everybody knew what we were talking about, but such is life. Dartmouth is actually number two in the MPI,
Yeah.
Jason. So even if you'd had them high, I think people would have been okay with that. But at number 20, Arizona State enters Jason's rankings. Number 19, Union. Number 18, Minnesota. Number 17, Yukon. Number 16, Cornell, who will be facing here in a couple of weeks. Number 15, Northeastern. And I got to tell you, their arena, a 115-year-old arena in Boston, and the name of the arena is escaping me. Jason, do you remember what their arena is called?
I don't, but I remember them saying that they were tearing it down, building something new.
Yeah, they're building a new arena. There were some structural issues with it. I just watched a documentary that Sports Illustrated did on it. They went and filmed. And if I recall correctly, when Mike Kemp was going around touring arenas trying to figure out what kind of features he wanted for Baxter Arena, that was an arena that they actually did. So I'm going to have Jason, like
Matthews
Google
Arena.
search. Huh?
Matthews Arena.
Matthews Arena. Yeah, I really wish that on one of our trips to Boston over the years that we had made a trek to Matthews Arena and checked it out because I love those old school barns. Certainly, I'm sure the new one will be beautiful with modern amenities, but yeah, it looked like a neat place, and that's more than anybody wanted to know about Northeastern. So I will continue. Number 14, Boston University. Staying in
Staying
the
in the area.
staying in Massachusetts. Number 13, Maine. Number 12, Boston College. Number 11, Quinnipiac. Number 10, Minnesota State Mankato. Number 9, Penn State. Number 8, Western Michigan. Number 7, Dartmouth. Number 6, Denver. Number 5, Wisconsin. Number 4, North Dakota. Number 3, Minnesota Duluth. Number 2, Michigan State. And number 1, the Michigan Wolverines. So Jason has our two former nemesis from back when we were in the CCHA before conference realignment. Michigan and Michigan State, number 1 and number 2. I got to tell you, of those two teams, I really preferred visiting Michigan State. We went to Munn Ice Arena multiple times. We went to Yost Ice Arena once, and God, those people were just jackasses, Jason.
I don't know. The only Michigan State game I've seen is the outdoor game.
I bet that
Um,
was fun.
I just wanted to go to an outdoor game, and back then it wasn't the thing that it is now. And so, a buddy of mine's like, "Hey, you want to go? I bet we could get tickets." We're in college and stupid, so we just put our stuff in the car and drove out.
Those looked like a lot of fun when they did those back in the day. But we've got to thank another new sponsor. We would like to thank Ryan Bowden, who is a real estate agent that you met through playing rec hockey. Jason, would you like to tell us a little bit about Ryan?
Yeah, yeah. Ryan's he's a really good guy. Known him for a few years and stuff. So, we know how great this city is. If you're looking to put down roots or make a move, you gotta trust an expert. And Ryan Bowden with Realty One Authentic is that guy. So he's got all the tools to help you find a new place, find your dream home, or sell the one that you're currently in and do it quickly. So if you're looking to do any of those things, you're gonna want to reach out to him, skip all the national sites and all the cookie cutter organizations, and get someone who's personal is going to help you do you. And that's Ryan. So give him a call, 402-779-1182, and he'll get you started today.
Absolutely right. We would love to have you join us here in Omaha if you're one of our listeners who doesn't live in Omaha, or if you're looking for a new house, give Ryan a call. We got to talk about UNO's next series. We're back to non-conference play here.
Yeah.
Heading up to Augustana in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It is the closest Division One team to Omaha. I'm really glad they started a program because this is the kind of series that UNO fans can easily and more affordably go to. So we're going to have a good group. We had a ticket allotment that we sold to our founding members in the first half of this season, and it's all sold out. So there's going to be 50 UNO fans sitting together each night. And I'm sure there'll be some other fans up there too. So it should be a good crowd, good contingent. Augustana is 9-5-3 overall. They have gone 3-1 against NCHC teams this season. They swept at home against Arizona State, and they split against Minnesota Duluth in Duluth. Augustana is currently 11th in the MPI, which, as I mentioned before, is the new system that determines the field of 16 in the NCAA tournaments. And the Vikings are led by head coach Garrett Raboyne. He is 39, 36, and 11 in 3 seasons at Augustana. He's a St. Cloud alum, coached with Bob Motzko before coming to Augustana. So a talented head coach, good recruiter. So Jason, what are your initial thoughts here? I'll get to the players to watch here in a minute, but what are your initial thoughts about Augustana and our matchup against them?
Hopefully we keep playing them because it is nice being able to kind of easily get to something like that. I know all the years that I grew up DUCC in-state rivalry, all that stuff. Just I know what it's like having someone close, right? And so that would be kind of fun. But as far as the team goes, like it's gonna be tough. If I remember right, they were fourth or fifth in the country in goals against. They're not going to allow a lot of opportunities. Their goaltenders playing well. They're kind of like Omaha, and like the question leading into this season a lot had to do with where their goals were going to come from. I'm sure you'll mention them in the players here in a second, but there's some freshmen that are really kind of stepping up for them and netting some goals, and so it's not going to be an easy matchup for Omaha.
No, it's not. A lot of good, talented young players on that team. Players to watch: freshman forward Jacob Yastrzebski leads the team in points with 5 goals and 9 assists. He had 1 goal and 3 assists against Mankato this last weekend. Freshman forward Leo Bulgakov is second on the team in points with 7 goals and 6 assists. He is from Belarus. There's a lot of guys from those former like Eastern Bloc nations in and around Russia coming and playing college hockey. So we're getting a greater European flavor as the years progress here. It's kind of nice. Junior forward Brett Meerman is third on the team in points with 4 goals and 9 assists, and he had 2 goals and 2 assists last weekend against MSU Mankato. And then on the blue line, junior defenseman Owen Baumgartner leads blue liners in points with 2 goals and 7 assists. And then in nets, and we faced this guy before, Jason, junior goaltender Josh Katai has a 2.04 goals against average and a .935 save percentage. So, Jason, what's your prediction? Do you think we'll get swept up in Sioux Falls? Do you think we'll split? Do you think we'll sweep? What do you think's going to happen in this series against Augustana in Sioux Falls coming up this next week?
The hard part about this is what's the status of Simon? Is he back? If he is back, is he healthy and back to his normal, um, MO? And so not knowing kind of what that is, it makes it really difficult to guess and anticipate kind of what's going to happen. I think you got to look at it and say, Cowan's the guy right now until we know different. And so what does this team look like in front of him? I think there's a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I think UNO's got something to prove after that first period Friday night, and so I think they'll come out. I think they'll play well. Ultimately, I think we probably split with Augustana. Honestly, they're just too stingy, and we're not a really high power offense, and that's kind of what worries me more than anything else. I think we can handle kind of what they have on the front end. Whether or not we pick up late guys coming through the middle or pucks up high, being able to challenge that quickly. So we limit those opportunities when they get points from D-men like that. Um, that'll be a key for us. And then, honestly, shooting the puck. We've got to have more urgency getting the puck to the net. And then they don't take a lot of penalties. So, we play pretty well 5-on-5. I think hopefully we play a lot 5-on-5. And that's going to be a bit of an advantage Omaha.
Playing in that new arena, Midco Arena, Jason. Again, it's going to come down to doing the little things right, not making mistakes, just playing smart hockey this weekend. It doesn't have to be anything brilliant. We're not expecting that. But if you look at the next 2 series for UNO, I think they could match up pretty well with those teams. It's not going to be, running the gauntlet against a team like North Dakota that has a lot of really skilled, quick forwards. So I think they can have success these next couple of non-conference series going into the second half of NCHC play. And when you look at those final 14 games that we play in NCHC play, 10 of those games are against teams in the bottom half of the conference. So there's a real opportunity if UNO gets some positive momentum going into the second half to have good things happen down the stretch. So like you, I'm going to pick a split in Sioux Falls. And as I mentioned, there will be a Mavpuck group of 50 sitting together. So that should be nice for the guys to be on the road. Friday's game will be at 7 p.m. Central, and Saturday's game will be at 6 p.m. Central at Midco Arena in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. New arena. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen pictures and video and stuff, but I'm like you. I'm excited to see it in person.
I believe it was designed by the same architect who did Ed Robeson Arena out in Colorado
Correct.
Springs, where you and I
That,
have both visited multiple times. So Should be exciting to see how it compares.
Yeah.
If you're not going up, you can listen to the games on 1290 Coil in Omaha or online anywhere on the Varsity Network app. Mike Valancourt and Terry Leahy will have the call. Both games, Jason, will be streaming on Midco Sports Plus. So aren't you glad we're going? We don't have to talk about whether you're going to subscribe to Midco Sports Plus or not.
Reason to make the trip.
Yeah,
Glad
just
it's not
better
in Alaska or something.
better off because see, I would have if we hadn't been going, I would have said, Jason, I will buy the subscription for you for a weekend or a month or whatever it is. And I don't know if he would have done it. So it's just better to just be traveling there in person, just watch those games in person.
And
But
you know what that means, though?
what?
That means the other place that you can see updates and whatnot is on Mavpuck Social, where we do our intermission reports, right?
Oh, yes. On the road, we always do intermission reports. Jason knows how thrilled I am to do those intermission reports on the road, especially when things aren't going well. But it should be fun. It'll be fun to do that from a new arena. So stay tuned for that. Be
Maybe
sure
we'll
to.
find an old ATM booth we can. Oh, it's probably a new arena. They
It's
probably.
a new arena, Jason. There's not going to be an old payphone booth that has been cleared out that we can stand in and record. So we'll have to do it in front of something new and modern in Midco Arena. And be sure to follow Mavpuck for those in-game updates on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find links to all of our social channels, as well as back episodes of this podcast in case you want to go back and relive anything at mavpuck.com. But until next time, Jason, go Mavs.
Go Mavs.